and we're just having fun. So welcome everyone. Tonight, we're going to talk about essential oils, but we've opened it up to be a question and answer period. So we're gonna ask whatever. If we have the answer, we'll certainly provide it. If we don't, we'll find out for you. So does anyone want to start us off? And wait, first I should say, I'm Vicki Sarnoff. Catherine?
I'm Lily Nancy.
Okay.
Catherine Sorrentino.
So we're here to provide whatever information we can.
And thank you guys for doing this.
Sure, we thought it would be a nice change.
Yeah.
So Debbie, do you have any questions that you've been thinking about?
Yeah, I have a question that I think I brought it up one time. Whenever I use oils, especially without a carrier oil, I can actually taste it on the end of my tongue within a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I remember, who was it? Kelly said that oils are basically for detoxing. So am I a really good detoxer, or what could that be?
That question, yes, you are, but not in relation to this. But I'm aware, but go ahead.
Okay.
So Lily, any thoughts on that? Lily, you're muted.
Mm-hmm.
You muted yourself.
It's a thing that happens often. It's not unusual. And what it speaks to is the amount, how quickly the oil is absorbed into your system. Essential oils go into the body so quickly, because they're lipid soluble. So they like the fat. They can move through the fatty membrane of the cells. And so it's not unusual to have that kind of experience,
Does it happen depending upon how are you applying it? Are you applying it to your body, or are you inhaling it, or what's your method of using the oil?
I guess it's more or less if I apply it to the neck area, or not so much the face, but legs, arms. And like I said, it's only if I don't use a carrier oil. So if it's just straight oil.
Well,
One particular one, or is it others?
I haven't kept track. Maybe I should do that.
so does that bother you? I mean, if it does, then always know to use a carrier oil. That will not diminish the effect of the oil by
Okay.
diluting it in a carrier oil.
Okay.
And it's always recommended, especially if you've never tried one on your skin, to always start that way anyway, just so you make sure your skin's not sensitive to it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sensitive to a lot of things, so I guess I just kind of cut back. Don't use a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't need to use a whole lot of the oils either, because they're so concentrated.
Right.
It's not like an herb, because the oil is like the real essence of the plant. And so it just doesn't take a lot, That's why they can go such a long way, Sometimes they're, like a big investment. Like I just had some rose here tonight. And it's like, and I'm not sure how this rose got saved, but it's in this unmarked bottle. And I was so excited when I'm like, what's in this bottle? Oh my God, it's rose. I must have done that some time ago. But I mean, this little bottle, this could last like forever, because a lot of times I don't even really need to put it on. I just open and smell it, and that's especially with something like rose. But I mean, with many of the oils, sometimes just inhalation is another way of taking the essence into your body. So it's not, topical, but you're still getting it in your brain and throughout your whole body, So, yeah, you might want to try just that, maybe just inhaling your oils for a bit, maybe before you start applying them topically, just to kind of familiarize your body with.
That's a good idea.
Maybe, I don't know, it just came to mind that might be helpful.
Okay. I do diffuse them. I don't notice it then. It's only when it's directly on the body.
Mm-hmm.
it must be going very quickly into your salivary glands or whatever and dispersing throughout.
Well, how many drops do you typically use when you're doing an application?
I use no more than 2 or 3. Sometimes it comes out quicker, but no more than 2 or 3.
What oil? Okay. Mhm.
But maybe I'll keep track of what oils.
Yeah,
Right.
it would be
Yeah.
interesting to.
Okay.
Yeah, and then let us know.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? Anyone try anything new lately? No?
Did you tell them, Lily?
No.
Oh, okay. I use, since I need to get my hair colored and none of the salons are open yet. I used Canadian red cedar on my roots. It'll wash out, but I take a toothbrush and I put
Yeah.
Canadian and I like that.
Wow.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, try some blue tansy. You could.
Yeah,
really-
I know. We were joking about that.
Oh my goodness. They never.
None of the blue oils, none of the blue chamomile, blue, all that. Yeah, I'm not going there.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Never heard of that. Did you suggest that, Lily?
No.
No, I figured it out
She came up with it on her own.
because it stains. And then I was talking to Lily about, what oils do I use? And she said, well, I know myrrh stains, but, I didn't really want to put a lot of myrrh on my head. But
Myrrh definitely
come on.
stains red.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
too funny. Oh, wow.
if it washes out, it'll wash out, of course, the next time you.
And did you feel anything else from the effects of using the red cedar?
It was a little bit on my temples and so on, but I use it at other times too, so I don't know if I consciously noticed any particular change that time, but other than red cedar is very grounding and all the things that the conifers do for you, but I don't think I noticed anything in particular, because I do use the oils a fair amount, so but yeah, I'm sure it was helpful in some way, grounding way.
So there's a suggestion that you can put out to we can send
Yeah.
out to people.
To
Say,
the
well,
spa people.
for your roots,
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
I remember reading once, just when you're talking, I'm thinking about it, Mary, with Canadian red cedar, because I never have used it a lot, but it was recommended for stimulating new hair growth.
Oh.
Well, perfect then.
Mhm. Right. I just remembered that.
Usually when I use Canadian red cedar, because it's so staining, I just put it on the bottom of my feet. So I'm hoping there's no hair that's going to grow there.
I don't know if there's many hair follicles on the bottom of your feet.
No, I don't think so. But that's where I usually would put it, because I didn't want it to, to stain other parts of my wrists or whatever. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's my Canadian red cedar story. But I'm certain, kind of, the smell I love of the conifers. I guess I love the firs, and I love Canadian red cedar. Some of the best, I'd say.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Catherine, I think I mentioned this to you. In fact, when you were wrapping up the last class, that I jumped into some of the spa treatments and did the foot baths, and that was very, very relaxing. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
And then I had a question, and it's for the 3 experts, but I was wondering also, Mary, has anybody used oils for hormonal balance, or that's a whole different webinar?
Yeah, that's a whole different webinar, but
Yeah,
Clary
that's-
Sage is very balancing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Geranium.
Clary
It's the
Sage.
first thing that came to my mind, geranium, yeah. But yes,
But geranium is also good as a tick repellent.
Well, that's what the oils do.
Yeah, so
Isn't it amazing?
get rid of
Everything
the
from hormones to ticks. That always like just flabbergasts me about, nature's possibilities because
So Irma, are you talking about any particular hormones? I mean, I wonder if it's, if it is
Yeah.
specificity there or if it's
I
in
was
general.
wondering about phytoestrogen because
clary sage,
Clary sage, yeah.
another one, clary sage,
What about Endoflex?
endoflex, yeah.
And then the licorices or the ones with anise,
Like fennel or,
fennel and anise and those.
I was just wondering about from a bone perspective whether or not estrogen,
Oh,
phytoestrogen plant would support bone health, would support the hormone system of the estrogen hormone system that could ultimately be supportive in some way to bone health.
Like lavender
lavender. Yeah.
that way.
Lavender impacts, what did you say? The,
endo.
no, it does impact your hormones. That's always been a concern of using too much lavender for breast cancer patients or having a deodorant for some people.
I remember Lonnie Simpson having that issue that
Right.
some people were creating a lavender deodorant and
Right.
felt that it was too close to the breast tissue.
Mhm.
I think that was not truly studied. I think it was an opinion, but I don't know.
And I'm thinking those may have been, not great lavenders. They could have been artificial lavenders like
That's,
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I found that, I used to use a lot of the hormonal balancing oils, in my 40s and then perimenopausal and so on. And I find I'm not using them anymore after I'm postmenopausal. And I don't know, does anybody have an opinion on sage? Because I hear, that sometimes like you may transition a little more to something like sage, at an older age, like, so I'm 60 now. And, but does anybody have an opinion on that in terms of transitioning, when you're, when you don't have the same amount of estrogen and you may transition to something else? Because I was trying to, regulate my menstrual cycle, things like that, and
Right.
regulate the symptoms that came along with perimenopause and menopausal symptoms. But I don't have any of those symptoms anymore, and so I tend not to use those oils in the same way. But I'm, a good point, Irma, related to bone health and what would be good.
Right. Any research I've done for bone health and looking with oils, I never really found any studies done or what would work for that. But it'd be interesting to look at the phytoestrogens.
Well, one of the scenarios is to use bioidentical hormones as you're coming out of menopause to control the estrogen drop.
Right.
And I'm currently using bioidentical hormones for not necessarily for that, for vaginal atrophy and dryness. And that's been incredibly helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And for brain fog and things of that nature. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, I'd be curious too if there's anything.
so you're talking more perimenopausal.
Or
No,
postmenopause.
post.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. But my question to that would be then, would well, even in perimenopausal, in order to maintain your bone strength, so you have, I mean, I don't know, is that part of the question as well?
What, Catherine?
To be proactive with
Yeah,
your bone?
right, to be proactive as you're going through life changes and you have a big estrogen drop as you're going through menopause and then postmenopausal.
Right.
That's when the bones are impacted the most. And that's oftentimes when women will go on hormones and or bioidentical.
Mm-hmm.
So that is that window of time that I was thinking about for bone health, but for overall health and vaginal health
Right.
was I was thinking about as well.
Mhm.
I mean, not to insert it because it was like, ooh, that would
Well,
be,
Oh, gosh. Oh,
some oils could be okay in a carrier oil if it's a mild oil.
you mean to insert like a suppository?
really?
I don't, could be. I don't know. Why not?
I don't know.
I can't see lavender hurting someone.
I don't know. I would never think about doing that from.
I wouldn't either, but something to look into.
You know, Vicky, she's up for anything.
I'll do the research.
Yeah, I'm not,
So
just-
That's just good things
I'm
to look
very
at.
curious about sage, you know. Uh,
And why are you picking sage?
yeah, why are you,
I don't know, because I'm kind of thinking, I mean, clary sage was definitely one for hormonal balancing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm wondering about sage, you know, because I guess I think that there's something in my mind, I have to look it up about, you know, that literally, you know, the plant is named sage, you know, as it's like an older, for it's an older, you know, sage kind of plant. So,
Mhm.
that was just in my mind. So I'd have to look it up to see if there's been anything on that. So,
Mary, how long have you been using oils?
23 years, I guess, since 96, since I have met Lily. 24 years, basically. Yeah. So I was I was about 37, I guess, when I started.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and it seems like, you know, different times, different phases of oils.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then I wanted to ask about the bug spray, but I'm forgetting. Did you make a video on bug spray? No.
I don't think I made a video on bug spray. No, but I could. I mean, I could make a short little video, or it could be part of something else. But I've been adding geranium to the bug spray for the ticks.
Mm-hmm.
oh, where'd she go? Mary. She just-
I was just reading about sage.
yeah, it's good for hot flashes.
Hmm.
Pulsates throughout the body. Oh, but I don't do anything for bone or for.
Just I'm going to check this book about Jeannie Rose's herbs and aromatherapy for the reproductive system.
Oh,
Good, yeah.
See what she says.
okay.
Ah,
Hers is much, she goes into herbs as well, though.
Mhm.
Essential oils.
Okay, well, that'll be a research project for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about sage that want us to be mindful of is the component, the thujon.
the
that
what?
make- It's
Uh-huh.
called a thujon,
Oh, thuja.
chemical consistent of thujon that, you know, can be a little tricky, you know. And this book, which is a great book, Vicki, you have this one, Aromatherapy A to Z. I love this book by Patricia Davis. You know, it has a very warming and softening effect on muscles. And, you know, she says it's good for, like, you know, weight training and sports that involve short bursts of intensive effort. But, you know, she pretty much recommends other things, like clary sage, basically, you know,
Right.
because it's a little softer, the components aren't, you know.
So I wonder if clary sage would still be beneficial moving on to postmenopausal.
I'm reading something about, well, to manage menopause symptoms, and clary sage was the #1.
Yeah.
Right.
Geranium was the close second, and ylang ylang helps with balancing and feelings of, again, relaxating and calming the low libido. But that doesn't address the issue.
This is one I'd forgotten about. but I used it for a while. Vitex.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, to balance hormonal output, she's suggesting other things like black cohosh, blue cohosh that we know about, wild yam, thistle, and licorice, but Vitex. And for vaginal dryness, she says vitamin E oil mixed with some rose oil,
Hmm.
or mixed with comfrey root, either one.
The Vitex is like the traditional one, right? I mean, it's,
Yeah. And then also, she's also just saying again, ylang ylang, geranium, like you're saying, and chamomile and lavender, and of course clary sage.
mhm.
And she's looking at herbs a little bit more. So, yeah.
We'll see if we can see some connection into bones.
Okay.
Okay. Be
You
happy
hear
to
that,
do
Skelly?
that. Yeah.
Hear that, Wally?
I don't see Skelly. No. So Wally, did you have any questions?
Well, I have a couple questions. I'm very new to this. So what is a carrier oil that you would use?
I like using, well, there's a number that you can use, whatever you're happy with, but I like using fractionated coconut oil is one. You
What
can
is that?
use jojoba oil. Excuse me?
What is
So
fractionated?
fractionated coconut oil, they take the component out that hardens the coconut oil. So when coconut oil gets cold, it becomes solid. They remove a component that doesn't really impact the coconut oil, that it doesn't get solid. So it's always in a liquid form.
I see.
So it makes it easy to add to things and use as an oil. I mean, you could use solid coconut oil. It would melt immediately in your hands, and you could add oil to that as well.
It also does not stain the fractionated,
Right.
which is why it's used a lot for massages. Massage therapists like to use it because it doesn't stain.
Does it, but does coconut oil stain?
It can leave a kind of residue, is my experience with it. Yeah.
And does fractionated coconut oil smell like coconut oil?
It doesn't have a really strong
Not as
scent
strong,
to
but
it.
it still
It
smells.
still has a little bit, but it doesn't have a strong scent to it.
Right.
And then there's other, so Catherine, what's your favorite carrier oil?
Well, I happen to like the coconut oil, but I will tell you, somebody just mentioned about when it hardens. I don't like the harden because in my head, I think of lard. And I'm thinking, oh, I just can't. So,
Okay.
and it didn't dawn on me. I mean, I've used, coconut, the hard stuff for cooking or whatever, but I never used it in my body or anything because I just thought of it as lard.
Interesting.
But yes, I prefer coconut the best, or jojoba, or how do I pronounce that?
Jojoba. Yeah. And Lily, what do you like?
I guess I use coconut the most. Of course, lately I've been using argan.
Yeah, you could use argan oil, which is really wonderful as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll see in recipes sweet almond oil,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
which is a nice one because it's mild. You don't want to
Hemp seed oil. There's a lot of different ones.
There's a lot of oils, yeah.
Depending on if you want it heavy duty or really light, because some of the oils, like the rosehip seed, I think tends to be a little heavy. Trying to think of some of the others that I've used.
Avocado.
Good.
Apricot. I don't know. I've never really used apricot, but I know it's out.
Avocado.
Yeah, avocado's good.
Mm-hmm.
That
So
I
the
would
one
think
thing
would
to
be a-
remember, Wally, is you want it to be organic. You want it to be a good, grade of oil. And oils will go rancid over time. So you just want to keep track of how long you've had it.
Fatty oils. Yeah, fatty.
Yeah.
My other question,
Don't go as rancid, don't they?
I have another question. which was when you were talking about geranium and the fact that Dr. Lonnie doesn't approve of it near the underarms.
That was
Is that for
That was for lavender.
lavender.
Okay, lavender. Okay.
Yes, because there had been a lot of talk about lavender
so maybe I was
including
making a
estrogen.
mistake. Maybe I was mixing that up with geranium. So,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't use lavender for vaginal dryness, right?
That I thought they said they would.
I
don't-
would think
I don't
so.
see why not.
Yeah.
It's only if you have issues like estrogen concerns, if you have had breast cancer. And I don't even know if there's been good documentation on that. So a lot of people won't use lavender. But I wouldn't be afraid to use lavender.
No, because it's typically a really gentle oil.
Yeah.
Or chamomile.
I would think comfrey would be great for bones if you knew how to apply it.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
From what I've heard about comfrey, it's very good for bone.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If you knew how to use it, how would I use comfrey essential oil for bone?
There a comfrey essential
Thing.
oil, or is it
I
like-
don't know. So I was
I
just
don't know if
gonna
there
say,
is.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen comfrey essential oil. I've only ever seen it as a dried herb.
Right.
And you make almost like a compress, but that's more of like a bone injury, I thought. But
Mhm.
I don't want to speak out of school because I don't have the exact information, Wally, I don't want to misguide you.
Mhm.
Well, isn't that the comfort tone? I mean, is that the same thing or no?
No.
Yeah, no, that's no. Uh-uh.
I wonder this would be an expensive one for bones. But because I'm thinking of healing, but maybe it's just bone healing of helichrysum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that I'm thinking of healing as well
Mm-hmm.
Instead of strengthening, right?
instead of strengthening. Well,
Well,
As-
it could go hand in hand a little bit, depending on if some of the bone issues are related to inflammation or poor circulation, or I don't know.
Okay, I don't know who it's a journal somewhere, but anyway, their results showed that the essential oils and monoterpenes, am I saying that correctly?
right.
And rosemary were widely used as food additives and in various medical applications, effective inhibitors of bone reabsorption.
Resorption.
Thank you. And numerous benefits on bone formation and against inflammation.
So it was rosemary and what was the
Time
and thyme.
time being the was in bold.
Okay.
But that's about the most I found. I'd want to do a little more information on that one, but
Well, we can start. We have both of those oils, Irma.
Ooh.
yeah.
So anything else? Any other questions?
Any thoughts on something you might want to try that haven't tried that maybe one of us have tried? We can share our personal experience.
Well, back to the carrier oil. I keep a container of coconut oil in the bathroom and use it on my legs for moisturizer.
Mhm.
And if I'm adding essential oil to it, how long does it last? Do I have to add it each time I use it? Or does it?
What do you normally do? Would you take it in a separate container and put some in and put the oil into it so you'd be ready to use it?
Yes. Oh, I just started doing that from the last.
How big is the container and how many drops did you put in?
It's pretty small. I don't want it to tip over and
Right.
and I just put about 4 or 5 drops of I forget what combination I put in there. But I'm just wondering, does it lose strength over time? No?
The oil will be fine. I mean, it sounds like you're going to be using it, using it up and replacing it. It's not going to sit for years on the shelf.
Okay.
And is it solid coconut oil?
It is, but down here it doesn't stay solid.
Okay. I forgot you're in Florida.
So I just went to look at a recipe that Laura Parisi, she's from our Bones tribe, Wally, created. She created this Better Bones bath and body oil. And she has in there jojoba oil, fractionated coconut, ginger, nutmeg, carrot seed, Roman chamomile, essential oils.
Ginger, nutmeg, carrot seed.
Carrot seed, I don't know about bone, but I know it's really excellent for skin.
And
It's a delightful oil.
one
I mean-
number in there was great. I think you said ginger. Was ginger one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great anti-inflammatory. So that, to
Ginger, nutmeg, carrot seed. Was there another oil?
Ginger, nutmeg,
Carrot seed,
Roman chamomile.
Roman chamomile.
chamomile.
Well, it
But I-
sounds like a nice combination.
Well,
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say to Wally, the jojoba, are you familiar with that oil, jojoba?
I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar with it.
It's jojoba. And that and the sweet almond oil, the combination is a delightful glide.
oh,
When you put an oil in it, then you have that. But even the jojoba oil and then the essential oils, it's such lovely contact, right, with the skin.
And you said it also had fractionated coconut oil.
Yes, so maybe that was it as well, Vic.
Well, and the jojoba has jojoba, isn't that from a seed, Lily?
I
It's
think
a
so.
slightly different makeup than some
Yeah.
of the other oils.
So
Yeah.
when I worked for a integrative ENT in New York City, he used jojoba oil because he would do stone therapy on their patients. It was really interesting guy. But what he liked about it is that it didn't stain.
Mhm.
You could put your clothes on right away and you didn't get any grease patches.
The jojoba does it? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, they say that it's the closest to the common to your real skin because it has such deep absorption because it's very similar to the skin's composition. The jojoba,
And
so
you can buy it relatively inexpensively.
Yes.
Like desert something or other sells it.
Mhm.
Yes, it's not expensive.
Not expensive.
Mhm.
But that's a nice to have that with just a whatever oil you want to mix it in with.
Mhm.
So how does Laura say to use that oil?
A generous amount on the most susceptible joints, the hips, knees, elbows, wrists, ankles, before you get into the bath. Massage these areas well while you're actually in the tub.
So is it for? So it sounds like it's for like joint pain.
Yeah,
Okay.
it says Better Bones and bath and body oil. I
Mhm.
used to use it on my hips, like every night, just part of my ritual. It was just pleasurable.
Mm.
I just found one other thing from medical news today, which take with a grain of salt, but pine oil. Osteoporosis is a common problem in which the bones become less dense and more liable to break. The risk of osteoporosis increases, obviously, as estrogen levels fall in the body during menopause. In one earlier study, researchers administered pine oils to rats without ovaries. They concluded that the compound presented in pine oil might reduce bone loss and help prevent osteoporosis.
Hmm.
I have no idea when this was done or.
Does it give a study link at all?
No, it doesn't, and that's what's
Okay.
bothering me. It just is medical news today, and it doesn't give a link to where the research was done. So
Um, I just found, I don't know if this is maybe the link, but I may be able to get the whole article
Because you're special, Mary.
through Drexel because I still have my library privileges
That's
there.
great.
This is good to know.
This is
Yeah.
good, yeah, because we sometimes
What a girl.
pay for things, yeah.
So this was from the journal Bone
Yeah.
and from 2003. And it's saying some of the same things that you're saying. So maybe this is where people are citing. So it's common herbs, essential oils, and monoterpenes potentially modulate bone metabolism. And so they said they looked at sage, rosemary, and thyme. And essential oils extracted from these herbs and other plants. Oils of sage, rosemary, juniper, pine, dwarf pine, and turpentine, and eucalyptus. As well as their monoterpene components. So the monoterpene components were thujone, eucalyptol, camphor, borneol, thymol, and a few others. There's pinene and so on. So they found that these inhibit bone resorption when added to the food of rats. So the rats were actually ingesting them. And so pine oil, as you said, used as a representative essential oil, protects an osteoporosis model in rats. So they used older rats who didn't have ovaries, and they thought, and they're looking that the pine protected them from osteoporosis. And I'd have to read the whole article to see, how much it protected them and so on. But I would imagine, it may be a little bit different mechanism if you're eating, the oil, but it'd be interesting to see if what they say about just the absorption, through your skin.
Well, the other thing that was coming to mind was the raindrop therapy, using all the oils on the vertebrae and just fanning it out. I just wonder if that absorbs through all the, using so many different oils, if some of those aren't helpful for, I don't know about you, but my body just feels so much better for so many days afterwards.
Well, and you could customize the raindrop to use specific
Well,
oil.
that's the
You
other
don't have to
thing
use the
to think of.
standard. Yeah.
And also I put some just in a small bottle myself and then just would put it on the bottom of my feet. Obviously I can't give myself raindrops, but so I figured out I had to figure out a way to take care of myself. So I put it all in a little bottle.
Well, that's what we do for dogs. We
Oh, do you really?
like a doggy raindrop or a kitty raindrop, and you put the components in a bottle and then put it on your hands, and then you just rub it down their back, because we don't believe in dropping oils on a pet's
Right,
body.
right.
Yeah.
Actually, I think you did tell me that when Princess was going through her stuff. Yeah, I remember. And I think that's why I did it. Yeah. And I figured, well, I'll use it myself.
Could you just share again what a raindrop?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Wally probably doesn't know.
Oh,
what a
sorry.
raindrop is.
I'm sorry. Raindrop. I know how to do it. I don't know what's all in it, but I can bring my table over. It's what is it, 12? It consists of 12 different oils. And what you do, Wally, is the person is on there. Well, first you can do the VitaFlex. And VitaFlex is along the outside of your foot on the edge, which is like your spine, I guess. And then you just kind of press your fingers towards the inside with each oil separately. And when you're done with that, the client will turn over, face down, and you literally drop the essential oil on their back. And then you can feather it, and some of it you massage right into the nerve endings of the spine, which are right on the end. And then massage it in. And you do this, I think there are 8 drops for that? 8 different oils for that one?
8 to 9 different oils, and right. And we've done it where we change up the oils depending upon what somebody's needs might be.
You did one for a shingles client.
I did.
Okay. Now, what would I'm not that versed in it, Wally, so don't go by me, but what would you change, like something more calming?
No, I did research on what would be good for shingles.
Yeah, and would it be more oils that are more calming than?
Well,
like,
and also to work on the nerves itself.
Okay.
I don't remember the combination, but
Yeah.
but it was fine. It worked. It was very nice.
Good. Yeah, and it's a wonderful treatment if you can you can get it.
Yeah, it's very relaxing. It does last. I think it stays with people for, and I tell
Yeah.
people they're going to feel the impact for, days afterwards. And I think it was a friend of ours, Mela, who did one on her, and she said she felt the impact for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. You know?
Also, Catherine, I was going to say, when you said because you can't, you can't drop it on your spine, the oils from the raindrop technique. You could do it on your foot, as you said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you can do a treatment on yourself just by doing your foot.
Well, that's what I was hoping for. But don't think I wouldn't like the nice.
Of course.
But someday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody traveling in the near future and have any questions about oils to take with them, or people are staying close to home?
I'm traveling.
Well, you know what to take.
I'm
hope-
all ready. I am so ready.
You're traveling in the RV though, right, Catherine? You're not going to the airport?
Oh, nice.
What will you take?
I've made my thieves spray. I made my hand soap. I made my own sanitizer. And the RV has its own set of stuff, for cleaning and whatever. But that I take with me wherever I go. My little packet that I take with me. Then I have another little packet that I have lavender in, peppermint in, thieves draw. And I just want to share something that, again, it boggles my mind. But I was at my sister-in-law's house, probably January, February, and her children were sick. They had, I guess, I don't know what they had, a flu, something. And they had slept at my sister-in-law's house the night before, or 2 nights before. But she had cleaned the whole room and sanitized everything and whatever. And I said, that's all right. I'm good. I clean, I do what I do. And I do my own ritual. So, but her daughter-in-law had called the next day to say that he wasn't doing any better and he had a fever again. So all of a sudden, the adrenaline starts going on. Oh, really? Oh gosh. And I didn't have any of the, what do we usually take? The,
Inner defense.
defense, which has thieves in it. So all I had was my little bottle of thieves, and I thought, so I stuck it under my tongue, and I'm not going to tell you it didn't, it was powerful, but I just was so, I got to do something, and I put it under there. I felt like $1 million. I'm telling you, this stuff is miracle stuff. And I thought, I don't care, you can be sick, it's all right, it doesn't bother me any. It's like, so I have my travel thing that I take with me in my purse wherever I go, and that's usually the thieves, like I say, the thieves, the peppermint for headache or stomach ache, thieves, lavender. Oh gosh, I have a few. Purification I take, and white angelica, because I tend to sometimes take on other people's energies when I shouldn't.
Really?
So I just wear that,
You take lemon with you? Lemon
No.
oil? No?
No, but that's a good one to take.
Yeah, to put in water.
Yeah.
You take Diges? That's the first thing that goes in my bag, Diges,
Instead of the peppermint, why?
because it works every time.
Peppermint.
I don't know. I've never just, I don't know. I just go for Diges whenever I have any kind of digestive stuff going on. That's where I go.
Well, it has peppermint in it.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
And my what is that?
I travel light. I guess peppermint has a couple of uses.
And peppermint you can use in so many different ways. I mean, it's so versatile. Peppermint's so versatile, but the Diges,
Yeah. I mean, if I'm home, I'd use the Diges, but if I'm not, because I travel.
any kind of digestive thing works for me. And going back to my Egypt story when I got food poisoning, I mean, that was like So I never travel without it now.
Oh, there you
This
go.
was my first, like, really super, yeah, I got it. I got the oils now. I know that they're okay. That was my first experience. And so I never have forgotten that. And so when I travel, it's just like, it always goes in first.
I always take it as well. And it's one of my things I take if I start feeling sick, actually. And
Oh,
because
wow.
my feeling is a lot of things kind of start in your digestive system.
True.
And so I usually can feel a little prickly stuff in my mouth before I get sick. And so I use that. But yeah, I was just going to piggyback on Lily's food poisoning. Last summer we were in Ireland and I got food poisoning. One of the first nights we were there from some bad seafood, I think. And so I was pretty sick during the night, but I was taking that all night. And the next day we had to travel again. And I was okay to travel. I was fine to travel the next day. So even though I was up all night, but
Were you just putting it under your tongue and rubbing it on your belly?
I was mostly putting it under my tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what I find is that if I ever have
That's
trapped
the
gas,
essential oil.
Yeah, it's a blend.
It's an essential oil. Yes.
Yeah, the digest. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Has several oils in it.
Yeah.
And but I'm just saying, you put oil directly drop under your
Under
tongue.
your tongue.
There's certain oils you
How
can
long
do that with, but not every oil.
But Catherine puts thieves in her mouth, right?
Well, I used to use thieves and put it on the roof of my mouth, and it got rid of migraines for me.
Yeah.
But thieves will burn mucous membrane, so you have to realize that's going to happen. And it was worth it to me at the time, so I don't recommend it to everyone.
So
Because of the
these oils, these little bottles, they last a long time, right?
I once had someone I was working
Yeah.
with, she used to use, excuse me, I'm sorry. She used thieves to help her go to sleep.
Everybody's different.
can't imagine that.
I know, I'm like, what? Oh, she loved it and she swore by it.
Wow.
So Irma, you started saying something?
First of all, I'm very hypersensitive to oils and tastes, and I can't imagine putting Daiji's in my mouth or
Oh,
thieves. I think Vicky talked me into doing thieves once because I had a migraine, and I think it helped, but I was just unhappy.
Yeah, it's
Too
strong.
much for me.
Yeah.
The Daiji's on my belly, if I ever have any trapped gas, that works like that.
Mm.
And it's almost hard to imagine. In fact, my partner also had a bellyache, and he ate something that didn't really agree and caused some gas. And I put him on his belly, and he was like, "What is that stuff? It works so well." But
But
that's
if you feel really, really sick, I mean, if you have like food poisoning,
Yeah.
you're willing to put it in your mouth.
Yeah, I think
It doesn't taste great, but it doesn't burn or anything. It just has a funny taste.
The other
Daiji's.
one that I find useful just in general, is dill, for mild stomach kind of weirdness, that feels mild but not too upsetting.
Never used
I
that.
go for peppermint for that, like a peppermint tea or
Right.
Mhm.
But going back to Wally's point, because she was saying it's an oil and it lasts for a long time, but Daiji's is a blend.
it's a blend, but it's an essential oil of multiple oils put together because they work synergistically together.
So there's no carrier oil in that. It's just a bunch of
No.
different oils.
Yeah.
It's just oils.
So what's in it is tarragon, ginger, peppermint, juniper, fennel, anise,
Mhm.
patchouli, and lemongrass.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and they will last a long time. I mean, hopefully you don't have that many issues that you need to use it, constantly.
Well,
But
guess what I'm packing as well.
okay, good.
Daiji's.
Yeah.
But isn't the old story that the essential oils were found in the tomb of King Tut, during the Egyptian times? That these were gold.
Mm.
And I remember listening to a presentation that said people that buy essential oils put them in their will because they're viewed as an asset. Now, of course, if somebody died in my family and I was not into oils and I got, well, here's your inheritance, 4 bottles of oil, I'll be like, oh boy, I don't know what to do with that. But
Here goes Irma again.
I would want to know my rose was going to someone that really appreciated it.
right.
So
Sure.
Molly, rose is the most expensive essential oil because it takes so many rose petals to make it. And what, like a 5 ml bottle is what, $180 or something? So
And
Yeah.
what is Melissa? Melissa's pretty expensive.
pretty close. It's pretty close.
I don't get why the cost of Melissa, because Melissa is lemon balm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're growing it outside.
We're growing it like weeds, so I don't know. It
I
sounds
know,
I
like-
feel like
but
we
the
do,
weight-
but
the
it takes
weight of
so much lemon balm to make the essential oil is the reason.
Yeah.
exactly, the volume.
The leaves, it's so light. The plant is so light, like the rose petals.
Like
Mhm.
I distill some of my own lemon
You
balm.
do?
She
You
does. Yeah, she's a stiller. Yeah.
I have my own still.
Stop it. We have to hook her up with Lauren Nappin.
Yeah.
But I distill for hydrosol, which is the water-based product. And so I'll get let's say if I got out of a whole container, which may be 6 ounces, like if it'd be a lot of leaves, but it weighs only 6 ounces. And then I distill that, and I will get with water, with maybe, so I'll get maybe 2 or 3 ounces of water, the hydrosol, and that may have actually, less than 5 drops of essential oil in it, probably, maybe just a couple. But it's in the hydrosol. You get a couple of drops of essential oil, but
I don't. Can you quickly describe the distilling process?
yeah. So this is a water. So I'm water distilling it, which means I actually kind of jury rigged my own thing. I have a Sears water distiller, and then I modified it so I put a basket in there so that I can have the plant material in there. And then I also have a brandy distiller part there's the copper that it goes. So basically what happens is as the water heats up and boils, the steam goes through the plants.
Oh,
And then as it cools, as it's going down the copper, pipe, and you have ice around the coolant part,
Oh,
the distillate will go from steam to a vapor, which has the essential oil, or it has the hydrosol in it because it's the water product. And then that will drip down and you collect that. So you can get a lot more from hydrosols. And so I just do culinary herbs because I can then drink. So I can put it, if you took a tablespoon of that, you'd blow yourself away because it's so strong, like if we do mint too. So you just put a little bit of it, or maybe a teaspoonful in a 12 to 16 ounce glass of water or something else, lemonade, whatever. And you would have that. It's a strong taste.
wow. So what's the difference between that and an infusion tincture? Right, if you were to take the lemon,
Right.
Isn't it
Melissa-
tincture made in alcohol?
I think tinctures are made in alcohol. So
Yeah,
you,
it's made in alcohol base.
right? No, I
so
understand.
I think you just let the herb sit in alcohol.
Yeah.
For 6
Distillate.
weeks or something, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes,
it's
but
probably
then you're
not
taking the alcohol with it.
Mhm.
yeah,
There
it's
is
probably,
water.
yeah.
Mm.
So,
Interesting.
Has anyone ever experienced Egyptian gold, the essential oil blend?
No, but I was just looking at it just before the call. Lily, I picked it up. I was like, what is this?
I know. I mean, it's amazing. I never have, but I'm telling you, I'm going to order it.
what's in it, Lily?
Okay, frankincense, lavender,
Mm.
balsam fir, myrrh,
Mm.
spikenard, hyssop, cedarwood, rose, and cinnamon bark.
ooh.
Sounds
Yeah.
ancient.
My goodness.
What would you do with it?
Lily, what would you do with it?
Okay, this is a blend for dietary, topical, or aromatic use. So you can diffuse it, directly inhale it, put some drops in a bath, apply it over your heart, and dilute it with carrier oil and use it as a massage oil. And put 2 drops on a wet cloth and put in clothes dryer.
Oh,
And 4 to 8 drops on cotton balls or tissues and place in or around air vents.
What book is that?
This is the essential oil desk reference, Young Living.
It's sad because somebody gave me that years ago and when I moved. So I looked that up. It's very expensive.
You can get a pocket size one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have
And it has, almost everything in there.
yeah. This is the desk size. It's
The big size one.
big and it's cumbersome, but I like it because it has these spirals on them, and so it's really easy to
Flat, yeah.
read.
Yeah.
And when you're researching. And
That's what I had too. I had that. I don't know, but it didn't come with me when I downsized.
That happens.
You have to get it through. What's the name of the company that's associated? Does
Abundant Health.
what?
Abundant Health.
Abundant Health.
Thank you.
Yeah, because Young Living doesn't print their stuff, but there's another company also. I'm trying to think of-
Thank you.
yeah, but Abundant Health, yeah.
Vicky, there should be a small desktop. Yeah.
Here's the
That's
desktop.
what I have.
So
yeah.
this is one's called a pocket size,
Pocket size, right?
pocket reference, and Life Science.
That's it.
Oh, Life
That's the company.
Science.
Life
Yeah,
Science,
Life Science is the company.
Life Science Publishing, yeah.
But I
And
think
it's-
Abundant Health,
I don't remember, I don't know what it is now, but it wasn't like $15 or something
25, I think.
for the little one?
Yeah.
But this one was like, I don't know, 60 maybe or something.
Yeah.
But so worth it. I mean,
Oh, I have mine upstairs. Yeah.
there's so much information in here. It's like, what, 800 pages? You know, you
Yeah.
can think it
Okay.
Well, there's only 400 in the small one, but
right. But it has everything, all of the oils, and in fact, it has, like you were talking about, the raindrop therapy. Like it has, the diagrams, like here, starting on the feet. I don't know, can you see that? Okay.
hold it
Yeah.
still.
And then it shows you, like, all the different strokes and techniques for applying the oils. It's really amazing. Spinal, here's some more. So you really can, like, teach yourself kind of thing. Here's some more
I
Yeah.
don't know what that
diagrams.
What?
That looks creepy.
So that's the one, that's the Abundant Health one?
No, they're both from Life Science,
Okay.
but that's the big one.
Yeah, this is the desk. They have a desk
Has pictures and
and a travel one. And then it goes into the oils and, what oils to use and when, and, it's a wonderful.
Does it also help you with like cleaning products for the house?
Everything is in here. And I mean, here's like, I picked this up and I'm like, oh my God, because there's so
But
many.
it doesn't have the recipes for the cleaning products. It tells you, right? It tells you about thieves cleaning.
yeah. Wally, I'm going to send you recipes.
Well, it has, what's in the,
Okay, great.
Yeah.
but look at this that I just found that I never saw before.
Yeah, but we can't really
You
read that.
can't read it.
Oh, okay. It's the energy centers, the
Yeah.
chakras,
Uh-huh.
Like the chakras?
right?
hmm
I mean, it's got all kinds of stuff. Cool. Like, okay, you want me to read some of them? Like the base chakra, the red. Oh, it's not really saying the oils on this. It's just saying, what's in each of the chakras. It's not saying the oils that they're recommending on that photo anyway.
Can I ask Mary a question? Mary, that study that you found, can you share that link with me?
I just sent you the article.
You did? To Irma Jennings?
Yes,
Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
you're welcome. I sent it to you and Lily and Vicky. I don't have Catherine's email, but maybe you can forward to whoever wants it.
We
Thank
will.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Cool. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
It's handy to have your, still be
There it
able to use the library there.
Yeah, for the articles that, that they have, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do any of you all use shea butter as a carrier?
No, I haven't.
I've used Shea when I've made like a container of like a body cream or something. I'd use Shea with other oils, with other carrier oils mixed in, but not usually just that alone.
I've been using it.
And you like it?
Yeah, but, well, I don't know anything else, got it. So, and there's a woman here who sells it. So,
Okay. It can't hurt.
Do you put other oils in it? Essential oil?
me?
Yeah.
No, I don't know
Using
anything
it as
about
a body
it.
oil.
I put it on my face, put it on my arm, and you just rub it in, and it just kind of goes into oil. It's solid, but then it goes into oil.
So it's similar to the way coconut oil behaves.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh.
we're beyond the top of the hour.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow, the time went
Thank you.
fast.
Yeah, so much for a half
Must have been
hour.
having fun.
Are there any last comments or questions before we close the call? So do you like doing this once in a while?
Yeah,
Like
thank you for doing
Q&A?
it. Good to have a free flow.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
To share,
A lot of good info.
Wait till
Great
you find out
information.
what's coming up next.
So, yeah, we'll surprise you. So, as Irma likes to end her recordings, does each person give a word for their takeaway from tonight?
Hmm.
Okay. Stumper. Irma, you want to start us off?
Hey, it's not a word. It's the respect of the plants.
Hmm.
Thanks. Mary?
The sageness of the plants.
Good one. Wally?
Wisdom of women.
Ooh.
Debbie?
The aroma of the wonderful oils.
Mhm. Catherine?
What comes to my mind is the amazing research that goes into finding it, the distilling it, the whole seed to seal process, if you will.
Lily?
The joy and fun of sharing.
Mm.
So I'll take away from Mary the distillation of information.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for coming,
Our
everybody.
next one will
Stay
be,
well, stay
our
safe.
next one's July 8th, is that correct? Give the date?
7th or the 8th?
I think it's the 8th.
That Wednesday, the 8th.
The 8th. Yes, take a little break because Catherine's going on vacation, so.
Oh, have fun.
we'll
Thank
be
you.
back on the 8th.
And what's the topic?
Should we
Not
tell them?
telling you.
Oh, not telling. Okay.
It's a surprise. Okay.